Hey there, you found Cameras and Car Seats, the podcast for photographers who are tired of being told to hustle harder while trying to remember if you grabbed diapers at your last Target run. I'm Jamie, your destination adventure elopement photographer who somehow manages to adventure with couples while raising tiny humans.
And I'm Alex, holding down the Lincoln Logs in the Midwest traditional wedding scene, proving you can crush those weekend weddings and still make it to family dinner. If you're editing in the pickup line, scheduling client calls during nap time, or just trying to figure out how to run a profitable photography business without sacrificing your family life, you're in the right place. We're dropping real, actionable advice that actually works for mom photographers.
No bro marketing, no toxic hustle culture, just two photographer moms keeping it real about making this whole business thing work while raising our families. So grab your watered down iced coffee.
Ignore that pile of laundry for another hour or day.
And let's dive into today's episode.
Hey, welcome back to the show. Today we are going to talk about routines, daily routines, whether you have daycare for your kids while you're working, whether you don't, what gets us through the day every single day to help get our stuff done.
Yeah, I feel like the messages you've been sending us, you want to know what our structure is, what our daily, this is what I do from the moment I wake up to the moment I put my kids to bed, and then even into 1 o'clock in the morning when I'm watching 1923 or 1883.
And I'm sleeping.
Yeah, literally. So we're going to go through each of our daily routines. Maybe you'll find some inspiration, some little tidbits. You can try some things yourself. That's our goal today.
Yeah, I'm excited to dive in. Okay, let's take turns, like breaking down each of our mornings and like sections of the day. So in your morning, do you have like a set morning routine every day, or is it different every day for you?
Okay, so my season of life just changed again at the end of December because Mercer, my oldest, started preschool. So right now, my normal day looks like I wake up, honestly, in between 6:47 and 7:06.
That's really specific.
It's this, I swear to God, every time I roll over, that is when I touch my watch to see what time it is, that's what time it is.
Is that a sign for something?
I don't know. If you're a number girly, can you let me know? So yeah, I wake up, let's just say 7 o'clock for ease of numbers. Jet, my youngest, normally wakes up in between 6:45, 7:30. And then Mercer goes to preschool at 8 o'clock in the morning. And preschool for us is super close. So we either can walk or, well, we haven't been able to walk much because it's winter. But we get Mercer out the door. So we get ready. He eats breakfast at preschool. So I don't have to worry about feeding him. That sounds really bad out of context. But like, so I get ready. We drop Mercer off at preschool. And then I will come home and switch gears. I will feed Jet. I will give Jet his milk. He's a milk obsessed boy. And then I kind of, honestly, next thing I know, I'm boxering you.
I love that. I'm part of your routine.
You are, because I'm like, check in with Alex.
Oh my gosh, babe.
You seriously, I always joke because I'm like, I will send you 10 messages at midnight
while I'm sleeping.
While you're asleep. And then I wake up to 10 messages at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Earlier than you.
And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm not a person before 8 o'clock in the morning.
No, you know what happened this morning is our puppy woke us up at about 3:30 in the morning. She usually doesn't do that. She usually wakes up between 5 and 6. Today it was 3:30. So I had to go downstairs, let her out, let her back in, but then she went back to sleep. So I put her in her kennel, back to sleep, go upstairs. The girls all woke up at 4.
Ew.
Like Daniel got out of bed and was like, no, you're done. He was like, you're going to stay in here until at least 6 o'clock. So they all fell back asleep. I think they woke up still at like 5:45, 5:50. They typically wake up around 5:45 to 6:15.
So wait, pause. If they got up at that time, maybe their brains were like, ooh, mom's awake. No, it wasn't mom. It was Sage, the dog.
Yeah, literally.
Yes. Like if you try to wake up earlier, your kids are going to wake up earlier. So they're like, someone's awake. I must be awake.
I have never been a morning girly. I will never be a morning girly. That's okay.
Yeah.
You know what? We're vibing with it.
I was when I was younger. I used to go work out.
Yeah.
At 5 o'clock in the morning, I would do like CrossFit. It was called Next Level. So it was a mix of weightlifting, cardio, and kickboxing.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm not that person anymore.
You're kicking business in the butt.
Yeah.
So there's that.
That was me, like,
It's like, what?
you know
Drum
what I
roll?
mean? Drumsticks, like pa-cha-cha. Okay, moving on.
So,
Your normal morning
yes,
routine.
I get up with the kids. Actually, usually Daniel is the one to roll out of bed first and then is like, hey, you should get up. And I'm like, I know I should, but will I? I don't know. And then I eventually get out of bed. He will turn on the espresso machine. We'll warm that up, make breakfast, figure out whose laundry is where as we're trying to get the clothes all ready and get them dressed for the day and trying to find the matching sock. And
You sound like a Folgers commercial right now.
I'm not kidding. Our mornings are chaotic. Like if it hit me up in the DMs, if you have any, like, this changed my, like, getting ready, like kids getting ready for school routine, because ours is hectic no matter what I've done. But that's okay, because I usually the only thing that I'm doing on my phone, if I'm on my phone at all during that point, is Voxering Jamie. So then after that, when the kids go to school, Daniel will usually drive them. And it's about like 10-ish minutes away from our house. It's not too bad. And so then at that point in time, that's when I start getting ready for work. Like, I'll get ready for the day, I'll get dressed. And I actually just in the last few days started the 75 hard. And so I've been starting my mornings by walking on my walking pad while I work.
Okay.
Yesterday I got 4 miles in while just like walking on my walking pad working. So, and then he will take Ev, our youngest, and he watches her. She just turned 2, like a few days
Wednesday.
ago. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Your daughter's birthday was last Wednesday.
I get confused because our middle daughter's birthday is on Monday.
Yes.
So yeah, he will usually have her in the morning while I get work done. And then I'll come downstairs, we'll make lunch together, we'll eat, and then she'll take a nap and I'll keep working, and then he'll work on other stuff. And then usually after her nap time, that's the time to pick up the kids and when I call it a day.
Perfect. I'm thinking, so if we're talking at time frame, so now it's 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, my time frame. That's usually when I do caffeine number 1.
Oh, yeah.
And then I have Jet, so I'm feeding Jet. I'm going over what we need to do for cameras and car seats. So we, as in you, the listener, and me and Alex, making sure we're serving you the best way that we can. And then obviously we're about to start the mastermind. So we're going over mastermind things. We're going over our current students in the mastermind, how we can serve them. And then I'm also making a list in my individual business of, okay, where are my clients at? Do I need to location scout? It's kind of like I start every morning as a check-in, like a huddle. Where do I need to go? Who's a huge priority right now? What tasks are to-do list tasks, and what tasks will move business forward?
Yes.
So that's basically what I do up until noon, lunchtime. And since I'm stay-at-home mom with Jet, and depending on if Mercer's at school or not. So they're either both home or just have one of them home.
Because how many days a week does he go to preschool?
Minimum, it's 3 days a week, 8 hours a day. That's their minimum. Or like he doesn't have to be there, but I have to pay for it. So if I'm paying for it, he's gonna go.
Right.
But so usually Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. That's his normal school days. He likes to have a day off in between to rest. And I feel like that's super necessary for kids that age too, is to just decompress and play, especially if they just spent all day with other kids. Like, at least for me and my children, we need a day to not be around people.
I feel like kids are pushed to learn so much so fast. Mm-hmm. Like, I think they do need just time to just be.
Yeah. So leading up to noon, I make lunch, and then I put Jet down for his nap. And that's right now, if I don't have Mercer home, Jet's nap time is my head down, getting these tasks done, and then making sure I do this, and this. I have a calendar my calendar is everything. If it's in the calendar, that's what's getting done. And then I focus on that task for that moment, move on. Jet usually wakes up, he usually takes about 3-hour naps right now, which love you for that. So Mark will get home. Well, Mark's just about to start a new job, so Mark won't be home now until 5 o'clock, but I would pick Mercer up from school at 4. We'd have playtime with the kids, so I would put work away for a little bit. That's when, if it was nice weather, we'd be outside. We'd go for a walk. I would make him run laps because my children have a ton of energy, and so do I. Or if it's shit weather, Disney, we'll have Disney on the background. We'll play blocks. We have one of those indoor jungle gyms. Highly
Those are
recommend.
cute.
They're not just aesthetically pleasing; they're just nice.
Yeah.
And I'm not like a stuper.
I'm not a stupor.
I'm not a stuper. I'm not super aesthetically pleasing in my life, I guess. I don't know. Fixer upper. Our playroom is in the basement. Our basement doesn't even have a ceiling. Midwest house. But it's a nice toy to have, especially if you have high energy children, because it helps wear them out. We have like an indoor swing, and but we always have playtime in the afternoon, and I put work away until after dinner. And just because right now I this year is a hustle year for me, and I know that, and that's why I have been working late, but it's because I have really big goals for helping you and the podcast and the mastermind and where I want my business to go, and I know the only way I'm going to get there right now is because I am in a hustle season. So this is like my typical routine. It's not going to be like this. I know it's going to change again in probably 3 months. But right now, This is what it looks like.
Yeah. I think what's fun right now is, like you said, it's more of a hustle year this year, and like doing more and dreaming big. And a lot of my time recently, when I have those work hours, whether it's the morning or over nap time, I am getting into wedding season. So pretty soon I'm going to have set days where I'm like, okay, this is like a editing day. This is a like check-in day. But a lot of my time lately has been for the podcast. So a lot of focusing on like website and the Mom Talk Mastermind. That's been like a lot of our focus, because we're just so
February
so
has
excited
been.
to get this out there. And by the time this is out, we'll have started it.
Yes.
And I'm so excited for the moms who have signed up and the businesses we're going to change, and it's going to be great. But
Shameless plug. We are really that excited.
we are seriously that excited. And so, yeah, that's taken up a lot of our time. And then also when we have guests on, like writing down their interview questions, making sure they're a good fit for our audience. And a lot of this season has been the podcast and the growth. And we have so many dreams and so many goals. And so putting that
laying
forward.
down the foundations right now so that we are set up for success going into the summer and this fall and then into next year, because we have a vision for where we want you, like you, the listener, you to like, we have a vision for you, how we can help you, where we can take you, how to keep this intimate and keep this personal. So that's why we are hustling right now. So our routines right now might not be realistic for you, but we're showing you what it could look like in a hustle season versus like a slower season. So like versus times when we're on maternity leave, that's a slower season for us. And our routines would not look like that because we would have different focuses. Our family would be our focus. The new baby squishies would be our focus.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. And then, yeah, throughout this time, like I said, wedding season is about to start. So the priorities might shift a little bit. Batch working is a huge thing to be done in a season. So like we've been batch working the podcast by like batch recording episodes, because then we know that pretty soon we're going to be in wedding season. We won't be able to meet up quite as often to get recording done. And so that's a huge thing in planning out your weeks too.
So let's pivot into batch working, because everybody batch works differently. And I know something that you wanted to try this year was Mondays are admin days, Tuesdays are editing days, Wednesdays are sessions, Saturdays are sessions, Sundays are completely do not disturb.
Yes. Yeah. So what I've been thinking, and I haven't like fully laid this out yet, but over the next few weeks, I want to kind of start implementing my own schedule. So like Monday would be maybe that check-in admin day where I kind of like, okay, what am I doing this week? What do I need to get done this week? Who do I need to check in with? And then Tuesdays would be podcast days. That's when our episodes come out. That's when we can work on content or anything that's like deep work for the mastermind or anything like that. Wednesdays could be a heavy editing day. And this could also shift during wedding seasons. Like maybe I want Wednesday through Friday to be calling and editing, because I might get busier with that. And then Saturdays I'm either off or I'm shooting a wedding, and then Sundays are family days.
So I want to talk to the people that don't have daycare, that don't have a village, because I know there's a lot of you. Right now I have preschool for my oldest, and that's it. Come wedding season, I will get my babysitter back, just because she'll be graduated. She'll be done with college. And she actually texted me the other day. She's like, "Hey, spring break's coming up. Do you and Mark want a date night?" And I'm like, a date night? What's that? My date nights have been spent with Alex.
Yes. Okay. Pro parenting tip for date nights though. Jamie knows this. Daniel and I go on date nights every other Monday because some of our friends who also have 2 daughters and are friends with our daughters, we will watch all the kids one Monday night while they go on a date. And then the next Monday night, they'll watch all the kids while we go on a date, and we rotate every Monday. So if you have parent friends who also have kids, that's a good way to get a date night.
Small village is a helpful village.
Yes.
Because right now I have my mom and I have my husband, but like he's not a babysitter, he's a parent. So it's trying to figure out that balance of, this is what I have. How can I make this work? How long do these things take me to do that work? And if I physically do not have the time, or I don't have the time to make it a priority, what can I outsource? Can I outsource culling? Can I outsource editing? Can I outsource housework, cooking, cleaning? Like,
can we answer the question of, I know some moms are listening to this and they're like, yeah, that sounds great. That sounds nice to outsource, but that costs money.
It does. Everything's going to cost money. Everything's going to cost you your time. It's just what's valuable, what's a priority, and what's going to move the needle versus what's just going to keep you busy but broke.
Exactly. And all the time that you're spending on those things that you could be paying to outsource, you could either be spending more time with your family and with your kids, which is valuable, or maybe that time that you would have spent doing that before, you take on one extra session, which instead would have taken you an hour as opposed to taking you like what? Let's just say you do a session, it's going to take you 2 hours to edit it, but instead you booked a session, which is half the time. Then you can spend that extra money by shooting more. You can spend the money that you made from that to pay for your editing.
I really want to tell my moms that, yes, you're a mom, you are a family person, but this is also a business. So you have to treat it like a business. You have to know your numbers. You have to look at everything in black and white. You have to look at your vision. You have to look at, so what we're doing might not be what you want to do, and that's totally fine. You have your own vision for your life. You have your own idea of where I want it to go. It's just, what things do you need to do to get to that vision? So that's when it's like looking at everything you're doing on your daily routines, whether you have daycare or not, trying to figure out counting every dollar for everything you do all day long, and then seeing what things are the top priority, what things are bottom priority, and honestly, just where you can pivot and change and grow things and try new things. And
right. Well, and most of the time we either A, are doing this because we love it, or B, we're doing it to bring in extra income, which also you probably love it too for that.
Yeah.
But if you are not running your cost of doing business and you are like, okay, well, I'll book these cheaper sessions because it's extra income, you have to actually evaluate. I don't care if your spouse brings in money and yours is just extra. You have to factor in all the costs and everything associated with it. It's still your time. It's still your mental energy. It's still your effort. It's still a business. And if you're feeling burnt out, it's probably because you're doing too much.
Well, and I know the reason this is on our mind right now is, one, we were diving into our students and their intake questionnaires. And because of everything I was reading on their intake questionnaires, I went and made a cost of doing business spreadsheet. We weren't even going to include this for the mastermind. I was like, there's a million of them out there. But then I realized, like, reading their intake forms, I'm like, no, they need this. They need to see that they're actually paying their client to take their photos.
And we need a cost of business calculator for moms. Like, daycare is a cost.
They never include daycare on the free
daycare. They don't
cost of doing business.
Exactly.
And so, like, I specifically put daycare costs not only on monthly expenses. So, like, if you do send your kid to daycare or preschool, but also just daycare or preschool per job, because weddings are on Saturdays. Most preschools and daycares aren't open on Saturdays. Right. So that's not included in your monthly expenses. It's an additional childcare expense. And just being able to see, if I'm charging this amount of money, but these are my expenses, I'm actually negative money. And like, once you can see all the black and white numbers and see where all your efforts were going and realizing, oh, this isn't moving the needle, that's when we can change things. That's when we can fix things. That's when we can adjust your routines. That's when we can look into everything and what you love, what you don't love. and we can just boom.
Well, and it helps you feel confident in your pricing because you know where your numbers are coming from.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the time that we don't feel comfortable in our pricing is because we don't know where those numbers are coming from. We just slapped a price on it because it looks like, oh, this is what prices are in my area and this is my experience, and my images kind of look like that person's, but they're a little bit better than that person's, but they're not as good as this person's. And so we're just picking a number and slapping it on our packages. And then we're like, we'll try to sell it. And then you're like, well, and when you are on a consult call or you're trying to book sessions, you will feel so much more confident in your pricing if you know where those numbers are coming from.
Well, and you'll also be able to give back. If you know how much your life costs every month, every year, and then you hit that number, then you can give back. You can do like free things. You can do nonprofits, charity items, because you've already hit your income goal. You're fine with saying yes to things that just fill your cup to make you happy.
Right. Okay, so we got into a little bit of a tangent.
Yeah, we just went down totally different path than where we started, like with routines, but
it was needed. But if we go back a little bit, let's maybe give the listeners some context as to, okay, I can't hire a babysitter or daycare right now in this moment, but so what can I do if I don't have that option? What can I do if I only have nap time to work with? What can I do if I only have this certain window where my mom watches my kid one day a week?
I feel like the first thing I want to ask is tell me about your baby. Like, tell me, because moms know their babies. Moms know, like, well, my baby will only contact nap. My baby will nap for, right now, Jet will nap for like 3 hours. And I know that. And I am more productive in those 3 hours than I ever was single in 22. But I feel that's the first thing I want to ask is, what's your baby's normal routine? And if you're kind of in the thick of postpartum, I feel you. I've been there. And your baby doesn't have a routine yet or sort of thing. I really want to encourage you to write down a to-do list every single morning with 3 things on it, like 2 to 3 things. Don't stretch yourself too thin. It's what I did in the early postpartum days. And it's like, I need to get this done. And then that's what we did.
Well, and it's figuring out what things you actually can get done, not what you hope you can get done.
Yes.
Like being realistic about, no, I know I can get these things done, instead of putting too much on your plate and not getting it done and then feeling upset with yourself because you quote unquote couldn't achieve what you wanted to in a day.
Well, and plus we get it. When 8 o'clock comes around and you just fought with your toddler for an hour because they wanted the dinosaur toothpaste instead of the mint toothpaste, you're literally, you're sitting in your bed and just feeling defeated, exhausted, smelly, and all you want to do is doom scroll and watch trash TV. Or maybe that's me. I don't know.
I like some good trash TV, like 90 Day Fiance.
No, I want to watch
Sister Wives,
2008 Teen Mom.
Oh yeah,
OG Teen Mom. Anyway, but Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
I haven't watched that one, but I love me some Sister Wives.
If you like anyway, but so tangent, but like. Obviously, we feel you. It's exhausting being a mom. It is exhausting being a business owner. It's exhausting combining the two because our routines aren't going to look like your routines. But I want to ask you the tough question of, what are your children like? What are their routines? What does your normal day look like? And actually physically map that out, write it down, because it's going to change week after week, day after day. But if you have a general idea of what normal-ish, quote unquote, then I feel like you can actually start to see, okay, I'm going to have 30 minutes from 1 to 1:30 where this one's napping, this one's occupied, and I can do grocery pickup, or I can make sure I have dinner prepped, and then I can also take a phone call, or I can respond to those emails. And then on this day, when my spouse gets home, they can take the baby for 2 hours, and my only goal is to cull.
The culling is the goaling.
Culling is the goalie.
So I also think it's super important to sit down and write out your 5 minute, your 15 minute, your 30 minute, and then your 30+ minute tasks. Mm-hmm. Like, what can I do in these windows? Because then when you have those windows in a day, because maybe your days are different. Maybe you have a day like Jamie where it's like, I have these days of preschool and then I have these days where I don't. kind of like map out your week, like she was saying, and then take these different tasks and fit them into these windows. So you can say, oh, okay, right now we'll take that like 1 to 1:30 window where I have a kid that's awake, but I have a kid that's asleep. So I'm like, half preoccupied. You can do a 5 to 15-minute task. What are those tasks? Maybe it's responding to a client email. Maybe it's typing up an Instagram post. Maybe it is just kind of like scrolling for inspiration, little tiny tasks that you can actually get done in those times. And then, okay, during nap time when I can get deeper tasks done, maybe that's working on a workflow. Maybe that's creating a guide. Maybe that's, editing, culling, checking in with my clients, deeper work. So just breaking it down into like light tasks and deep tasks and fitting those into your current routine.
And also, sidebar, if you're sitting there, I don't know how long this takes. I'm pretty sure HoneyBook can do this. I don't know for sure, but I know Dubsado has it built in. I've never actually used it because I already know how long it takes me to do certain tasks, but you could even just set a timer on your phone. So when you start a task, time yourself. And then when you're done, you're like, oh, okay. So on average, it takes me 27 minutes to cull a mini session.
Yeah.
So
HoneyBook has a time tracker.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if Dubsado has one. I've just never used it.
Same.
So if you are in the very beginning stages where you don't actually know how long it takes you to do something, just start timing yourself and then you'll know. And then if you like spreadsheets, you can like put these in little columns. I even think like Trello or what's that other one that everyone's Notion.
Yes.
Like you can make little visuals where it's like, these are tasks that take me this long. These are tasks that take me this long. And then that's how you can build your custom batch working day because you're like, I have these pockets. These are what I need to do. This will help move the needle. And then you can get those done.
And I also think with those, always remember that you don't have to plan out your day every single day.
No.
I have like a base of what my routine is every day, but then it's going to be different. Like we just went and picked out flooring the other day. Like, hey, after lunch, we're going to go pick out flooring. Okay, cool. Like, and then everything is different based on appointments and schedules. And I've just kind of learned to ebb and flow in what works for me. And I'm the type of person where in my head, I want to be super incredibly organized and I'm not. Like in my business, I am type A. In my life, I am type Z. So like just kind of figuring out what works for you and don't get overwhelmed with scheduling out every second of your day. Start small. Like okay, over nap time, I'm going to work for 2 hours straight over nap time. And before and after that, I'm just going to focus on the house. I'm going to focus on the kids and just work from that.
I mean, I'm a perfect example of that because I had to go to the ER. One of my babies got sick. And then the day completely derailed. And I'm just like, well, I have systems in place because I ended up getting a couple inquiries, but I didn't have to worry about that because I had already done the admin day of the work to get the workflow and the automations. You guys know that we have.
I'm like, we will never stop talking about workflow and automations.
But it's when things come up where it's like, okay, I had a plan for today. That plan clearly went out the window and it's rolling around in the ditch. So, but in a way, it's like, okay, that's fine. We'll shift and we'll figure out where to put things throughout the week. Like I just opened my calendar and shifted what we were going to do because we didn't get certain things done yesterday because I had to shift and family had to come first and then work. But that's fine.
That's the beauty of owning our own business, right? This is the whole point.
Yes.
The whole point is so that we can be present in our families and with our kids and have a business, but also not have to live in our business. Right. And once you have automations and systems in place, you can do that.
This episode brought to you by.
But seriously, like that's the whole like joy and purpose of owning our own businesses is to be there for our kids, and we get it. Like if you just need somebody to say like it's okay.
Well, and honestly, sometimes you understand what you need to do, but you just need to talk it out really fast, and then once you talk it out, you have that mental clarity of like, okay, I'm ready. I got this. I just needed to get it out of my body.
Right. Exactly.
So I hope this helps. I hope you guys kind of had a little bit more of like give and take routines on our little soapbox tangents. Soapbox. Okay. Well, we will see you next Tuesday. Make sure you're following along on Cameras and Car Seats. Oh, and if you missed this round of the Mom Talk Mastermind, make sure you go get your name on the wait list because is good.
We got another one coming your way.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys later. Love you. Bye.